This video is going to be a complete guide for Instantly.AI. Instantly is a platform where you can email thousands of people every day and be sure that all your emails are landing in the inbox. You can get thousands of clicks per day. You can get a bunch of replies from people. It's a powerful platform, and we're going to be discussing it in this video. So we're going to talk about what is Instantly, how do you use it, the pricing plans that are going to be available for you, what pages in Instantly to care about and not care about, importing email addresses into Instantly, what settings to use for your email addresses, how to make campaigns in Instantly, a full complete walkthrough of that, and then finally inbox management for all your replies. To start off, I'm just going to show you some results that I have here so that you can get an idea of what you can accomplish with this platform. Here's a campaign that I started 2 days ago, and we sent out 4,000 emails so far. We have a click rate of 51%, and we got 2,069 clicks. If we come down here to this little bar and hover over it, we can see that in 1 day, we got 1,650 clicks. And this is without even using the system to its full capacity. So basically, you can take a list of like 10,000 leads, email all of them, get a 50% click rate, and then get 5,000 clicks to your website just like that from people in your niche. The best thing about this is that for these clicks, I'm paying less than 1 cent per click US dollars. If you head over to Google and look at what Google clicks cost or Facebook clicks cost, they cost like at least $3, and they'll go all the way up to like $10 or $15. So these clicks not only come from people in your niche, but they're also literally like 99% cheaper than what you get from Google. Okay, here's another example, another email campaign where we focused on getting meetings. So we emailed 12,000 people in 1 week, open rate 33%, click rate 0, nobody clicked. Reply rate 1.2%, 150 replies. So there are some problems with this campaign. The open rate is pretty bad. The click rate, we don't care about that one. And the reply rate is actually pretty bad as well. But the good thing is it doesn't matter. Because I emailed 12,000 people in 1 week, Monday through Friday, a 1.2% reply rate means I got 150 replies from different CEOs that I wanted to reach. So that's 150 replies from CEOs in 1 week, Monday through Friday. Now, about half of these replies are going to say like, thank you, but no thank you, I'm not interested. However, the other half are going to say, hey, yeah, I'm interested, I want more information. So basically in 5 days, Monday through Friday, we got 75 replies from CEOs saying they were interested. That's more than 10 CEOs every single day emailing you, telling you that they're interested in your services. Let's talk about how Instantly works. Now we're in the email tab, and if we click over here, you can see that I have 412 email addresses that I'm sending emails from. The whole point of Instantly is that you want to be able to send 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 or even more emails every single month. Now, unless you have permission from all these people to send emails to them, you can't use a software like MailChimp because then you'll just be blocked and they'll send your email to spam. So the way to get around this is that you have several email addresses, and as you can see here, every single email address is only sending 50 emails per day. But then of course, if you have 400 email addresses and you send 50 emails every single day, then you can send 20,000 emails every single day. Now, you don't need 400 email addresses. For one company, you need like 20 or 50 email addresses. You can buy cheap domains like these, like info or digital, for like $2 each, and then you can set up unlimited domains in a web hosting platform called SiteGround, which costs $3 a month. I'm not going to be talking about how to do that in this video, but if you want to do that, then you can read an article that I've written that's completely free, and I'll link that article in the bio. So how does Instantly work? You make a bunch of email addresses, you register them into Instantly. Then you have to adjust a bunch of settings, which I'm going to show you how to do in this video. And then you use all your email addresses to send out the same emails to the same list of leads, and you can contact like thousands of people every single day, and you can get really good results. If you're aiming to get replies from people, you can handle your inbox management in this one called Unibox, or you can redirect all your emails to your main email address so that you'll get all the answers to your own email address, and you can respond and manage all the replies from there. Let's talk about the pricing of Instantly. Come up here, click on settings. You're going to land directly under billing and usage, and here you can see the different pricing plans. If you don't have a plan, this page might look a little bit different than what it does for me. I have the hyper growth plan, which is $97 per month. There is a cheaper plan called growth, which is $37 per month. The growth plan isn't really good, so basically if you're serious about this, you're going to have to get the hyper growth plan. And unless you want to send more than 125,000 emails per month, you're not going to have to upgrade this one. Instantly does have a couple of competitors. The main one would be Smartly.AI. I'm not going to talk about that one in this video, but you can go check it out if you want. I've tried it and it's a little bit cheaper, but it kind of sucks. So I would say if you're serious about this, then it's not really worth it. You should just go with Instantly. That's my recommendation. So let's compare the hyper growth plan to the normal growth plan. Obviously, you can start off with the growth plan to try out the platform. Instantly does offer a 14-day free trial, so don't worry, if you just want to try the platform, you can do that for free. On the free plan, you're not going to be able to warm up email addresses. I'm going to talk about warm up in a second, but essentially this is a very important feature that does not come with the free trial. So if you're serious about this and you want to use Instantly, then you're basically going to have to get the growth plan to get started. The growth plan is limited to sending out 5,000 emails per month. You can only upload 1,000 leads at a time. The hyper growth plan allows you to send 125,000 emails per month. And you can upload 25,000 leads at a time. One little trick that you can do though, if you want to save some money, if you're serious about this and you're getting the hyper growth plan, but you're going to warm up your emails, email warm up takes about 2 weeks. So you can basically get the growth plan, put your emails on warm up, and then 2 weeks later when they're finished, then you get the hyper growth plan to start emailing people. And that's going to save you 2 weeks of this plan. So $40 or $50 basically. Okay, let's talk about the layout of Instantly. What pages do you have to care about and what pages do you not have to care about? So up here in the upper right corner, this is where you can access your profile, your settings, your billing, log out, that kind of stuff. Down here in the right corner is a button that is very, very useful, and it's the customer support chat. I don't know what you think about customer support chats, but I will tell you I've used this one with Instantly a lot, and they're really fast and good at responding, and they usually solve your problem. Heads up though, they don't respond and they don't work on the weekends. They only work on weekdays. Over here on the left, we have 6 different menu options: lead finder, email accounts, campaigns, Unibox, analytics, lead management. According to me, there's only 2 or 3 of these that you have to care about, and the important ones are email accounts, campaigns, and Unibox. The ones that you don't need to care about are the lead finder, the analytics, and the lead management. Let's talk about why you don't have to care about the 3 pages that you don't have to care about. The lead finder, it finds you people to email, but it's too expensive. You're not going to use it. That would be stupid. Again, I repeat, don't use this tool. It's too expensive. Instead, go use Apollo. On Apollo, it's way cheaper. You can scrape the leads directly from Apollo. You can get 10,000 leads for $50. I have a separate video on how to get leads from Apollo if you want to watch that one. Basically, don't use this. It's too expensive. Get your leads from Apollo instead. It's way better. The analytics page, sure, it's cool. You might want to go here and check it out, but what you really care about is the analytics for your campaigns. And the analytics for your campaigns, you can find within your campaigns. So this is not a bad page. It's just that you can find the analytics in your campaigns anyways. Same thing with the lead management page. This is where you're going to have like the organization of all your leads, but the leads exist within your campaigns. When you add leads, you're adding them inside of one of these campaigns. When you remove leads, you're removing them inside of one of these campaigns. So I don't see the point for using the lead management page. Okay, let's talk about the email account tab, the campaign tab, and the Unibox tab. Email accounts, this is where you can see all your email accounts. As I said before, here we can see that I have 412 email accounts. This is where you'll manage, import, and adjust the settings for your email accounts. And I'm going to be going over everything on this page in a minute. The campaigns page, this is where you create a campaign. I like to think of a campaign as a set of leads. So I create a campaign, I import 10,000 leads into that campaign, then I create some email copy in that campaign, and then I choose what email addresses I want to use to email the leads in that campaign. Then I run the campaign and I look at the analytics in the campaign. So this is one campaign, this is another one, this is another one. All these campaigns have all these different things in them. And then on the main page here, this is just like where you can see the most important data. So you can see if it's active, if it's completed, if it's paused. You can see the process for this one. We have emailed currently 59% of the leads that we have uploaded into this campaign. You can see the amount of clicks that you got. You can see the amount of replies that you got. You can click on this button to pause or start the campaign. And over here on these 3 buttons, you can rename or delete it. And I'm going to be going over this page as well later in this video. Okay, finally, the Unibox. This is where all your replies are going to end up. This page is useful, but I don't use it. It's useful in the sense that you'll see all the replies, you can reply to people, you can filter it out by different kinds of replies. However, if you're getting a lot of replies, you're probably better off just redirecting them to a separate email address and handling all those replies in Gmail or another email service provider. Just for example, if we click on a reply that we got and then we click on reply to this person, the settings that you get here are not as customizable as the ones that you get in Gmail or another email service provider. So that's why I like to do it somewhere else. Okay, let's talk about the first step of using Instantly, which would be to import email addresses into Instantly. So before you import them, obviously you have to create email addresses, and that's a whole separate process. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. As I said earlier, if you want to learn how to do that, there will be a link to an article that is completely free in the bio for this video. To import email addresses, just go up here and click on Add New. If your email is hosted with Gmail or Google Workspace, which is called G Suite, then you click here. For all other email hosts or providers, you're going to click here on IMAP/SMTP. And this is where it gets good. You can import one single account at a time, or you can do a bulk import from CSV. I'm going to quickly just show you how to do both. Let's start with a single account. Enter your name and the email address that you want to add to Instantly. Click on Next. Enter your password. Then in this step, you have to enter your IMAP host and your IMAP port. And then in the next step, your SMTP host and port. What is that? Well, let's head over to my email service provider, SiteGround. If you want to go to SiteGround, I will have a link for SiteGround in the bio as well. Over here, you can see it says email configuration. So this domain is aibiztools.site. All it says is mail.aibiztools.site. So this email address that I'm currently registering in Instantly is also hosted with SiteGround. All I have to do is copy the domain from this email address, come over to the IMAP host, type out mail dot, and then paste in my domain. And then for the IMAP port, Instantly is going to paste in the default most common values here. That would be 993. If we go back to SiteGround, you can see here that it also says IMAP port 993 and SMTP port 465. So this one is correct. I can now click on next. It says IMAP connection successful. Okay, now we have to configure SMTP settings. The SMTP host, that's going to be the exact same thing as the IMAP host. So I'm just going to type out mail dot the domain. And for the SMTP port, it says here default value 587. But if I go back to SiteGround, you can see here that it says SMTP port 465. So I'm going to copy that, go back to Instantly and replace it to 465. These values are going to depend on your email service provider. Now, I can't tell you every single variation for every single email service provider that there is, but basically you just have to figure it out yourself. You can ask ChatGPT or you can Google what are the SMTP and IMAP values for this certain email service provider that I have. Or you can do what I did. You can go to your email service provider's website and you can look for something like this, email configuration. And here it literally says the values. Then you're done. You just click on submit. And for me, it's going to say accounts already added. So that's how to add one single account. Now let's go back here, click on add new, IMAP, SMTP, and do a bulk import from CSV. Because of course, if you just made 50 email addresses, you don't want to add one at a time. You want to just add all of them at the same time. The thing is, when you click on bulk import, you're just going to land here and it wants you to upload a CSV file with all the information for all the email addresses that you want to upload. This is what that kind of spreadsheet looks like. This is the kind of spreadsheet that you will need with the type of information that you will need to bulk import email addresses. And lucky for you, I have an empty one right here for you, which I'm going to link in the bio of this video. So in the bio of this video, you can just find the link for this one, click on it, and then you can use it yourself. So that you can just click on it, go to it, fill it in. I'm going to show you what to fill in, and then you can do that and bulk import your email addresses. But you're not going to be able to edit it. So you'll have to copy all these values and then paste them into your own spreadsheet. So let's cover exactly what information you need to put in your spreadsheet in order to bulk import your email addresses. The first column just contains the email addresses that you want to import. Then you have your first and last name. And this doesn't have to be your first and last name. This is the name that's going to be displayed when you email someone. So here I've just set stay below for first name for all the email addresses because when I email people for this company, I just want it to say stay below. And I've not included a last name. So this one is optional. You can put whatever you want here. Then we have these two, IMAP and SMTP username. Here you just need to put your email addresses again. So it's in a different color, but literally you can just copy the entire first column and then paste it in here like this, and that's going to work like magic. Then we have the IMAP and the SMTP password. This is your registered password for your email address. So here you need to type out the password for each and every single email address. If you're going to make 50 email addresses and their only purpose is mass sendouts, it's not like you care about each and every address, then you can just put the same password for every single email address just to make it a little bit simpler. Then we have the IMAP port and the SMTP port, and this is what we just talked about when registering a single address. These values can be a little different. For me, for SiteGround, it's 993 and 465. And as we said earlier, you can find these values on your email service provider's site. You can also ask ChatGPT or Google to find them for you. Okay, over here on the right, we have 4 additional columns left. These are optional. You don't have to fill them in, but it's going to save you time if you do. Daily limit. This is the maximum amount of emails that can be sent from one email address in one day. So to start off, you want to put 0 because in the beginning, before you've warmed up your email addresses, you don't want to be sending any emails from that email address. So you're going to put 0 and warm them up, and then 2 weeks later, when they're warmed up, then you'll change it to 50. Then it says warm up enabled, true. This will just activate the warm up instantly for all your accounts. Then it says warm up limit. This is the maximum amount of warm up emails that can be sent to your email address in one day. The default value here is 20. I think it's a good one. You can just keep it at 20. Lastly, we have warm up increments at 1. This is how fast your amount of warm up emails will increase every single day. So you activate your warm up. If you put 1 here, it's going to send 1 warm up email the first day. If you put 5 here, it's going to send 5 warm up emails the first day. If you put 1 here, it's going to send 1 email the first day, then it's going to send 2 the next day, 3 the next day, and 4 the next day. It's just going to add 1 email to the warm up emails being sent out from your address every single day. This is a good recommended default value. I would recommend keeping it at 1. So it's all finished. Now you can come up here to File, click on Download, click on CSV. Now you can go back to Instantly. You can go to the place where you exported your CSV file, and then you can just drag it in here. This is going to enter in all these columns, and here you can see all the email addresses that we're about to add in. If you scroll down a little bit, you click on Upload All. It's going to go through this process of saying testing IMAP connection. And now for me, these email addresses are all going to fail because I've already added them, but for you, it should work. And if it doesn't work, just use this button and ask the customer support. There's one last thing to address when importing email addresses. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to use Gmail or Microsoft email addresses for all your email addresses. You'll be better off creating bulk 50 or 100 email addresses with another email service provider like SiteGround. But for inbox management, it can be really good to keep one main email address that you're responding to all these people with. And that's what I do. I have one main email address per company that I host in Google Workspace. And then I just redirect all the answers from all of these other email addresses to my main email address. In order to redirect all your answers to your main email address, that main email address also has to be registered in your Instantly account. So the last thing to cover for email accounts is if you want to add a main email address. Click on Add New again, and then click on Gmail or G Suite, or maybe you have Microsoft. I'm not going to be walking you through this entire process. It's pretty simple, and Instantly also has some instructions here. They also have an instructional video here that you can watch. Essentially, you need to enable the IMAP setting in Gmail or Google Workspace. Once you've done that, you click on this button, and then you're going to use an OAuth authentication method to combine Instantly with Google Workspace or Gmail. You're going to have to find the OAuth code for Instantly in Google Workspace if you're using Google Workspace, and then add that in there, and then they will be combined, and you will be able to add your Google Workspace email account to Instantly. And then once you've done that, you can redirect all your answers to your Google Workspace email account. And again, the reason that we're doing this is that it's easier to manage all your replies in Gmail than it is to manage them in Instantly's Unibox. Okay, that's it for importing email addresses. Let's talk about what settings to use for your email addresses. There are two ways that you can adjust settings for your email address. One, you just click on an email address and you go to settings right here. Two, you come over here and you make a bulk selection, and then you go over here to the right upper corner and you click on bulk edit settings. This tool is obviously amazing because if you have 400 email addresses like me and you want to change the name for all of them at the same time, doing it one at a time would just be hell. But let's click on one email address here and let's go to the settings and let's talk about these settings. First off, you have the first and last name. You can just set that to your own name or your company name, whatever you want. Signature. I don't use a signature in my email sendouts, but if you want to, then make one. This one here is the most important settings of all settings, the daily campaign limits. This is just how many emails one email address can send in one day. If you're warming up an email address, you want to keep it at 0 so that you don't accidentally send any emails from that email address being warmed up. If you're using it for active sendouts, I would recommend keeping it at a maximum of 50. If your email address is between 2 and 4 weeks old, I would recommend keeping it maybe a little bit lower than 50, maybe at 30 or 40. Minimum wait time, you don't really have to care about that one. Just keep it at the default of 1. Reply to, this is another important one, right? This is where you decide which email address all your replies are going to be redirected to. If we just enter something here, you can see that it says setting reply to an address not connected to Instantly will result in reply detection to not work for this account. That's what I was talking about earlier. That just means that if your reply to email address, your main email address, is not registered with Instantly, this is not going to work. So you have to register your main email address, your reply to email address with Instantly in order to redirect all your replies to that address. Then we have custom tracking domain. This is another important setting. This is a DNS setting, and I'm going to be talking about how to set it up right now. What it does is it ensures that your reputation for your domain is unique to your domain only, and it doesn't spread across all your domains and all your email addresses. If I just start spamming on some of these domains, they're going to get blacklisted, they're going to get a bad online reputation. If I don't use a custom tracking domain, that bad reputation is also going to affect all my other domains instantly. That's why it's very important that you set this up. To set it up, you first need to go to your email service provider. Again, for me, that would be SiteGround. Again, if you want to use SiteGround, link in the bio. And then in your email service provider, you need to find your DNS record editor, where you can add or remove DNS record. And this one here is the one that we're looking for this domain. It's already been added. If we go back to Instantly, we can see here that they have some information on the record that you need to add. We need to add a CNAME record. The host name for that record should be inst. And here's the value, and you can just copy this value directly from Instantly. So all you need to do in your email service provider is go in and add a CNAME record. For the name, you have to name it inst. The cache duration setting doesn't really matter, but you can set it to 1 hour. And then you go back to Instantly, copy this value, come back here to the DNS editor and just paste this value and create this record. Once you've created this record, you should see it in your list of DNS records. You might have to wait for a little bit, but then basically all you do is you just take your domain for this email address, and then before your domain, you type in inst dot. So the value that you put in this box should be inst dot your domain, and then you click on save. The configuration for the custom tracking domain can be a little glitchy sometimes. You might have to click on save several times. The way to check that it works is you can reload the entire Instantly page and then click back on the same email address, go to your settings, scroll down, and if this box has this value filled into it, then your custom tracking domain is active. Now, your custom tracking domain is unique to your domain, right? It's not unique to your email address, it's unique to your domain. So for me, I can't change my custom tracking domain for all 400 email addresses at the same time, but I can change it for 7 email addresses for 1 domain at a time. So what I can do to change my custom tracking domain is I can come up here to search for a certain domain, and then since I have 7 email addresses for each domain, I can just highlight all of them here, select all 7 email addresses, come over to bulk edit settings, scroll down, click on custom tracking domain, fill in inst dot, paste my domain, and then save this, and it's going to save this custom tracking domain for all 7 email addresses at the same time. It's going to save me a bunch of time. And then you just reload the page, go back to one of them, and check that it worked. Okay, what other settings do we have? We have some warm-up settings. Increase per day, 1. This is the amount of warm-up emails being sent that increases per day. Daily warm-up limit, 20. I would recommend keeping both of these at the default values of 1 and 20. Reply rate, 30%. I would just keep that at 30%. And then you can click down here on Show Advanced Settings and scroll down. Now, in order to enable these advanced settings, you have to be on the more expensive plan, which is $97 per month. So if you're not on that plan, then skip this. If you are on this plan, just come down here, click Enable on all these 3 settings. They're really good settings. Click on Save. Do that for all your email addresses. Another really good feature for the Email Accounts tab is the Health Score. This sort of like measures your deliverability rating for each email address. It only measures it based on your warm-up emails. So if 1 out of 20 of your warm-up emails land in spam, then you're going to have a 95% health score. So no, it can't see how many of your actual emails that you send to actual people land in spam or inbox. But if you keep your warm-up active, then it's pretty easy to compare your warm-up score with your score that you're probably getting with real people. Now, Instantly says this should be above 70 to 80%. I say if it drops below 90%, you might want to turn that email address off for a while. Okay, that's it for the email addresses. Let's talk about how to make a campaign. Go over to the campaign page. To make a new campaign, click on Add New, give it a name, continue. Once you're in your campaign, you're going to have 5 different pages here. You're going to land directly on leads. There are 4 different ways of adding leads. I would recommend just uploading a CSV file. That's what I always do. It's the best, simplest, fastest option. To import a CSV file of leads, well, you're going to need a spreadsheet of leads, kind of like this. If we highlight this column, you can see down here that it has 7,000 leads in it. If you want to learn how to get cheap leads like this, then watch the video in my bio on Apollo. Let's cover what these 5 tabs do. Analytics, leads, sequences, schedule, options. And then we have subsequences, but that's kind of like an additional one that you don't have to worry about. So analytics, obviously this is going to be empty for you unless you've already ran your campaign. Here you can see how many emails you sent out, the open rate, the click rate, the reply rates. Opportunities, don't worry about that one. Another thing to make a comment on here is that the open rate is not that trustworthy either. Sometimes I've had a higher click rate than open rates. So don't trust the open rate too much. It's also a little hard technically to measure if somebody opened or did not open an email. But the click rates and the reply rate, these are usually very accurate. One thing to keep in mind with these clicks is that they're not unique clicks. They are a total number of clicks. But this could be clicks from 500 people. It doesn't have to be clicks from 2,300 people. If each person who clicked on this link clicked on it 4 times, then it would be 500 people that got me 2,000 clicks. The next tab, leads. Once you've uploaded your CSV file with leads, it's going to look like this. You don't need to come to this tab very often. There's not much to do here. The one thing that you might want to come to this tab for is once you've ran your campaign, you can click up here on all statuses and you can scroll down and you can click on bounced, for example. Okay, it turns out we have 333 leads in this campaign of 7,000 leads that are bounced. That means when I sent an email to these email addresses, 333 of these email addresses just bounced that email back. That is not good. I've already verified these email addresses, so there's nothing I can do about it. But if I want to reuse this list of 7,000 leads, it's important that I remove these 333 bounced email addresses from that list so I don't email them again. Because each time you email someone and the email bounces, that's going to hurt your deliverability score. So what you want to do once you've ran your campaign in the leads tab, you want to filter it by bounced. You can also filter it by not interested. Then you want to come over here and click on select all. And then you want to go over here and download all selected in campaign. That's going to give you a CSV file with all these 333 bounced email addresses. And here you'll see also instantly status bounced. So what you want to do now is you want to take this list, import it into Google Spreadsheets, and remove all these email addresses from your complete list of leads. If you want to learn how to do that, you can also read the free article in the bio of this video. Let's move on to the sequences tab. This is where you're going to be writing the emails that you're going to send out. So here on the left, we have variants of emails. I've made 12 variants for this campaign. And for each variant, I'm testing a different subject line and I'm testing different content in the email itself. The reason for doing this is that then you can go back to analytics, you can scroll down here and you can see which ones got the best results. So under analytics here, we can see that this one had the highest click rate of 56%. In this campaign, click rate is what I'm after. Now there's 7,000 leads in this campaign and I've only emailed 4,000 of them so far. So what I can do now is I can go down here and turn off all these other variants and I can only use this one that had a click rate of 56%. And now it's only going to use this variant to send out the remaining 3,000 emails. You can also turn these variants on and off in the sequences tab like this. So this is a variant. You can click down here to add a variant. And if you want to add a step, you click down here instead. I'm not going to do this, but adding a step is different from adding a variant. A variant is just made to test different copies, different text, different subject lines. A step is literally another email that will be sent out to these people if they, let's say, not respond, or you'll send it out a few days later. So basically by adding a step, you can set it up so you send out your initial email. If they don't respond, they'll get another email another 3 days later. If they don't respond to that one, then they get another email, a third email, maybe 4 days after that. You can propagate your own settings for these steps. So that's a really cool feature. Instantly is not the greatest designer of emails, but it does have all the basics. The best thing is that you can insert variables into your subject line here, or down here, there's the same button for the body of text. A variable is a first name or a company name or a phone number, a signature, a name, LinkedIn, whatever you want. It's a piece of information that you have on your lead that will be specified for each and every lead. So here in this email, I'm starting it off with hi first name. And if you click on this button down here to preview your email, you can see that it now says hi Marcia. So this is going to fill in the first name for each and every person for all these 7,000 leads in this campaign. If you want to learn how to extract first names in your lead list, you can watch the Apollo video that I have linked in the bio. A good thing to do before you start your campaign is to preview your email by clicking down here. Here you can add your own email address to send this test to, and here you can add the email address to send it from, and then you can just go to your email and click the link, check that everything looks good. This here, check deliverability score, is another good feature. This is going to load up a result. You want to have 100. If we scroll down here, we'll see that this email address has a 1 here, and that's a negative because the domain was registered within the last 14 days. So I haven't done anything wrong. This is just a little thing that happens. In the bottom menu, if you click on templates, you're going to find here a bunch of cold email templates that Instantly has put here for you to look at and get inspiration from. So here you can look for your kind of company and then see what kind of templates they have that you might want to use. Moving over to schedule, this is probably the easiest tab. You just pick your time zone and pick what times of the day that you want to send out emails. Generally between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon are the golden hours. Now don't underestimate the power of when you're sending people your emails. If you Google it, you'll see that sending emails on a good time of day versus a bad time of day can have a difference in open rate between 20 and 30%. So I would recommend sending emails between 9 in the morning and 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Moving over to the options tab, this is a bunch of settings for your sendouts. First, there's a few basic settings here, and then you can click here on show advanced options, and then there's a few more things you want to adjust down here. First off, accounts to use. These are the email accounts that are going to be used in this campaign. You cannot add more than 100 accounts to one campaign. This one, link tracking, will not be turned on by default, and you need to turn that on. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, it's not going to track your click rates, and obviously you want to track your click rate. Daily limit, this is a limit for how many emails can be sent per day in this campaign. If we scroll down here, the only thing that you really need to change in the advanced options is the random additional time right here. The minimum time in between emails per email address is a default set to 7 minutes. That means each email address sends one email and then it waits 7 minutes and then it sends another email. What I like to do here to make it seem even more human and make it seem less like it's a robot sending out these emails is to add random additional time of maybe 6 minutes. If you don't care, you want to send your emails fast, just keep it at 0. If you want to keep it safe, put it at 6 minutes. If you want to be really safe with it, then put it at like 10 or 12 minutes. These other settings, you can look into them if you want. I don't use them. I don't think they're super necessary. That's it for how to make a campaign. About the inbox management, we've already covered most of that information, but just to give it a recap, over here in the left menu, you can click on your Unibox. This is your universal inbox for all your email addresses that are registered in your Instantly account. So all the replies that you get to your email addresses that are registered in Instantly, those replies are going to land in this inbox. As I said earlier, this is a good feature. You can reply to people, write your emails here, but I like Gmail better. So what I like to do is go over to email accounts, select all my emails, go to bulk edit settings, scroll down. And right here, I like to type in my own email and redirect all the replies to my email so that I can answer them and look at them in Gmail. And remember, just as we spoke about earlier, this email address that you redirect all the replies to has to be registered in Instantly as well. So typically for the registration process of registering your email addresses, you're going to be doing it, registering all your email addresses from one email service provider, and then you're going to be registering your main email address for maybe Google Workspace or Microsoft or Gmail or something like that. That's it for this video. If you want to learn more about the entire process of generating leads and emailing people and cleaning the leads and everything that you need to do in order to get these clicks or meetings, you can click on the link in my bio that will take you to this free article where there's literally all the information on this stuff.